And we are being televised by WMCT TV and recorded live and streamed. Having said that, let's call this meeting to order. If we can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please, and thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we just heard.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Dan Caruso is doing remote today, so we will be doing a roll call vote for every vote that we do today. Having said that, let's jump in to presentations. We have the Marlboro High School Student Advisory Committee. So, whoever wants to jump up first, feel free. Is the light on?
Green light?
Red light.
Red
No,
light.
red light's not on.
There you go.
No, the red light's not on. Click it again. There
There you go.
Hello.
It's like Rudolph's nose.
All right. Hello, everybody. I am Patrick Haviland and the Senior Student Advisory Committee member. This evening, I would like to talk to you all about the prom situation between the juniors and seniors. Prom is one of the most anticipated events of high school, a memorable night celebrating friendships, accomplishments, and milestones. This year, the question of how prom will be handled has been talked about greatly, and the idea of the joint prom between the juniors and seniors has been mentioned a lot. Tonight, I would like to discuss the arrangement's benefits and drawbacks. These positives and negatives are those that I have heard from peers that I have talked to from both the junior and senior class. One major positive of a joint prom is the opportunity for unity and inclusivity. Hosting both juniors and seniors fosters a sense of community, allowing students from different grades to bond and share an unforgettable experience. This can also be cost-effective for our grades, as a combined prom reduces the financial burden of organizing two separate events. Additionally, juniors gain early exposure to prom traditions, preparing them for their senior year and giving them a chance to celebrate alongside older friends. Another advantage is the larger and more diverse social dynamic. A joint prom often leads to a bigger event, with more attendees contributing to a lively atmosphere. The diversity of perspectives and interactions can make the event feel special and inclusive, blending the enthusiasm of juniors with the sentimental reflections of seniors as they approach graduation. However, there are also significant downsides to a joint prom. One concern is the potential overshadowing of seniors, for whom prom is a hallmark of their final year in high school. Sharing the spotlight with juniors may dilute the significance of their farewell celebration, making it feel less personal or unique. Additionally, juniors may feel out of place, as the event might focus more on senior traditions and themes. Another drawback is the increased logistical challenges. A larger group means higher costs for tickets, decorations, and venue accommodations, which could result in higher prices for students. It may also be harder to create a cohesive theme or ambiance that appeals to both grades. In conclusion, a joint junior and senior prom has its merits, particularly in fostering unity and reducing costs. However, it also risks diminishing the senior experience and creating complicated logistics. I believe our class advisors and officers should try and talk on this topic more before making a final decision, as well as including more representation from students throughout the grades. Our school must carefully weigh these pros and cons to ensure that prom remains a meaningful and enjoyable celebration for all students. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Any questions? Yes, Catherine.
Definitely. Patrick, thank you for speaking so well on the whole issue. I guess my question would be, where did this come about? Because somewhere this must have germinated that there needed to be a discussion around this point. And was it something that came from a student standpoint, or was it something that came elsewhere?
To my knowledge, it was a mix of student standpoint and faculty and class advisors. I think one of the big points was that the senior class was worried about financially being able to support a good senior prom. And also, people last year, the seniors now, formerly juniors last year, were saying that they didn't. That I heard that there was a lot of people saying that they didn't really like what had happened at junior prom as far as like venue and catering and things like that. So I'm pretty sure that this came up because people were thinking that by combining the two, it would give us a larger money pot to give to the next prom.
Thank you. That's helpful to hear that it sounds like it was from multiple areas, making sure that the students' voices were involved. And I guess the other thing that would be interesting to hear is how much of the student body is actually attending prom.
I wanted to know.
You know,
Have the numbers gone
Numbers
down?
have gone down.
Yeah. So I'm not sure the exact numbers, but I remember last year a lot of people saying that not a lot of people had gone to the prom, the junior prom last year. And so I think that was another big thing for people, is that by having another grade there, having more people there would create a lively atmosphere, and that's what people were looking for. So yeah, numbers were lower last year than they had been.
I think that would be interesting to hear. I'm appreciative that you all are having conversations, and I just would encourage you all to continue to have those, bless you, those thoughtful conversations, because you brought up really great points on both cases. So thank you for the insight. I'll be interested to continue hearing where this goes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you know whether or not the people in having these conversations have checked with other districts and see how they do it? Because I know there's a lot of districts that have like a junior prom, and then like the seniors do something else, like a cruise or some other kind of a thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the communication with other districts and getting ideas from them. I do know that the idea came because some of our class advisors at their high schools, they had gone to high schools where there was joint prom. So
Joint, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyone else?
I think Atul wants to pipe in.
Grab a microphone.
Dr. Rowley came up to both us officers, and he gave us like the rundown. Like, you have two options this year.
A tool, grab a microphone. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, so the joint prom idea, like the speculation was like a little bit last year, like maybe this could be a better option after like how Patrick said the junior prom wasn't as lively as it could have been. And I think from administration and then students, it was like brought to our view that maybe it could be a possible option. And even Dr. Alley came up to us and said like there are benefits and there are cons, and it's up to like the officers to decide. And we thought it was a better idea. It was more lively. And this year it's going to be a little bit different. And then the idea of like how can we give the seniors like their own event was like definitely brought up. I think they're talking about it a lot too, especially like maybe even like a pre-prom was an idea, having them have like their own thing then, and then even like later in the year or in between that's like that season having a specific event for the seniors.
They do the all-nighter as well.
Sorry?
The all-nighter happens for seniors
Yes,
afterwards,
yeah,
too.
that's
so-
also only a senior thing,
Correct,
at least for
right.
now, yeah.
If we were to merge junior and senior prom, would you look at ticket prices? Because obviously the more people that you open it up to, it means more ticket sales. So tickets could be
should
cost
be
pro.
less.
Right. I would.
Yeah.
That's what I would look into to see if it, because ticket prices could be rather high, because there's only so many people that you can go
Yep.
based upon the amount of people. So it could be cost prohibitive for a lot of
Yeah,
people. so.
I think it was gonna be like around the same or even a little bit less is what we were seeing. The turnout for last year's junior prom wasn't as high as that we like saw it could have been. So we're trying to get a rough estimate as like how many total people are attending.
Right.
Maybe
And-
350, 400 ish for 2 grades, I think was generally the ballpark. So
Right.
that's taken into account. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Anyone else?
Well, I would just like to mention, I thought I had heard too that I know that junior prom had low attendance, but I had also heard the senior prom had low attendance as well. That it's not just the junior class trying to join up with the senior class, that I think it's kind of a combined effort. But I'd be curious to hear more as we get closer to the date.
Okay. If nothing else,
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Keep us
Patrick.
Thank you.
updated.
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay. Next.
Good evening, school committee and everyone watching. Today I'm here to discuss a topic which was mentioned to me in a student leadership meeting. Turning on the news, anyone can see that the world is going through a tumultuous time. Socially, politically, and economically, there are huge changes happening. However, the majority of students in our school won't know anything more than the basics they find on social media. Current events are a necessity for learners in school, and adding it to some form of learning time would be beneficial for everyone. According to a research statistic I found from 2022, approximately 51% of Gen Z teens get their news from social media, placing it above TV news and traditional news websites. I'm sure in this last 2 years this has increased. Students no longer have an interest in seeking out current events, instead opting for the next TikTok trend. The news students do see on social media is often sensationalized or inaccurate, including no shortage of opinionated users. This leads to a lack of knowledge, which will not only hurt kids, but also our collective future. By bringing current events into the classroom, a wealth of knowledge can be created. Students can be informed by trustworthy and reliable resources without the partisanship of many sources. This can include local, national, or international news with enough information for students to build educated opinions. While the topics covered could include mild political disagreement, creating a fair stream of factual knowledge could remove a lot of worry. As students get older, they will be more active in the world. This will eventually lead to voting in elections. Many students know so little about news that they don't know about the topics and issues they might be voting on. For example, in one of my classes, before we worked, we talked about the last election's voting guide. Students that planned on voting didn't know much about the ballot questions or why they might be important. According to NBC, the lowest demographic of voters in this most recent election was ages 18 through 29, with 14%. The lack of education of teens about current events has the prospect of hurting our future, and we have the ability to change that. One option might be to utilize current events through the Panther periods, which occur about once a week. Some Panther periods are underused, and adding some additional teaching on current events could not only create interest in local and world affairs, but also the extra periods even more. Another idea is ongoing inclusion in some history classes for additional learning. This can include comparing past and present events, helping to assist students not only in their classes, but also educating them on issues affecting their everyday lives. Comparisons or even Socratic seminars might be useful to include in current events. I believe with the correct amount of care, current affairs in the classroom could be useful. Hopefully, this can be brought to a higher consideration, helping to benefit everyone's future. Thank you.
Thank you. And can you just state your name? Because I don't think you did.
Hadley.
Thank you. Yeah, just for people that are watching, they know who you are. Thank you. Any questions for Hadley?
Hadley, thank you. I 100% you're correct that, current events should be part of the discussion. My hope would be that it actually would be part of the discussion within the current classrooms and curriculum that's going on, because I think that's how we relate better when we're teaching, is trying to bring it to something that's currently going on. I would, yes, I went to school a long time ago, but my teachers were talking about what was currently going on, whether it be local, national, or international at that time, relative to something that's happening in the classroom. So I'm hoping that that is something that can happen. And I would say, I think by you probably having the discussion, not only with your advisor, but also with Principal Dr. Riley, and, having those discussions with people that are heading up, hopefully then would also have that push out amongst the teachers to remind everyone that's a great way of making those connections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No. Thank you, Hadley.
I actually have a question sort of for Dr. Skaza. So, the bringing civics back, I know a lot of the focus with the state law was on middle school age, but are there ways to, because basically a lot of current events, particularly in the political realm, they're civics issues. So I'm just curious how that all plays out at the high school level.
Yeah, I've been working with Dr. Reyes on civics curriculum for the middle school primarily. They are piloting the Democratic Knowledge Project in grade 8. But for the high school grades, primarily 9 and 10, they're looking at iCivics as a possibility in the future. We may have some more current news sources embedded in it. I do feel as though it's just good practice in the history classes in general to be discussing current events, so I can certainly speak with Dr. Reyes and some of the history teachers at the high school, along with Dr. Riley.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks,
Hadley.
Hadley.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor Cronus, and I'm the sophomore representative on SAC. And tonight I'm going to be talking to you about the removal of MCAS as a graduation requirement and opinions from my peers, as well as a special message from an MHS alum. This time last year, I was urging you all to vote to remove this test as a Massachusetts graduation requirement before it hit the polls this November. Now I'm standing in front of you again after it's been removed with a 70% vote. As a student, my academic success has never come easy to me. I consider this to be a blessing and a curse because although I have struggled often and always had to work extra hard compared to some of my peers, I have now developed the strong work ethic I have today. Also, as a perfectionist, maintaining perfect grades and just being successful has been my drive to do well in school. Many other students had the same opinion. I sent out a survey to the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students at MHS. I specifically chose these grades because we were the 3 that would have had to pass MCAS with the raised score requirement. Students said that it added a lot of stress, and students are happy that this stress is gone, saying students who may have been performing very well in a subject could do poorly on MCAS because of test anxiety, and that all students test differently. These students mostly mentioned the idea that it's not fair for all of a student's hard work to boil down to one test. But unfortunately, it's also a reality that some kids do not care as much about their education. This is where the big question of how do we make sure students are still learning without a test comes into play. Though a lot of students felt relieved about the removal of this graduation requirement, others did not see it as such a positive thing. Many students said that it takes away motivation from students who do not care as much about school, and that now there's nothing to push them to be better. The students that think this also said that these students who would not feel inclined to push themselves will graduate underprepared for the future. The differences and similarities between these two groups of students were this. Almost all the students who agreed that MCAS should not be a graduation requirement did not take into account the motivation for students who may be unmotivated in school or to graduate. And a lot of the students who disagreed with the removal of the graduation requirement did not take into account that if MCAS was kept as a graduation requirement, there could have been students with test anxiety and that students who test differently may have performed poorly. But the one similarity that they both agreed on was that if MCAS was kept as a graduation requirement, there should have been accommodations for students learning English, students who arrived in the country, and students with other needs. These needs were being met, but we were in agreement that they could have been being met better. So what's next? That's the big question for Massachusetts right now. Now that MCAS is gone, what will take its place? Will it be up to districts to decide, or will something such as Mass Core be required in every district across the state? Ms. Bodenhenninger and I talked about the idea of something like Mass Core becoming a state requirement versus the optional guidelines they are now. And in my opinion, I think this is a good way to require certain things and that making sure that all students are learning the same things across the Commonwealth. Lastly, I want to wrap up my presentation with a message from Ryan Boyd. A little refresher of who Ryan is for those who might not have been here or don't remember my presentation from last year. Ryan is an MHS alumni who had a great struggle with MCAS. Ryan has autism and struggled taking tests in high school, and at the time when preparing to take the test, he was denied the accommodations given to him on his IEP. And after all his hard work, Ryan failed his math MCAS by 2 points and did not receive his diploma. Because of COVID, scores were waived and he did end up receiving it, but if not for COVID, this wouldn't have happened. And I have a message from Ryan that I would like to share with you all. Getting rid of MCAS as a graduation requirement is something that I have wanted to happen since I spoke to the Senate back in 2021, and to hear the news earlier this year that it had got on the ballot for question 2 was a huge achievement for all, including myself. To hear that it has passed and that it's no longer a graduation requirement is a victory to all of the students and teachers who thought of this test as bogus, time-consuming, and to some mentally exhausting. It gives many, including those with disabilities, a chance that we were not able to be determined by a test, but for all the hard work and effort that we put into our work. I am proud of this happy ending to be extended to all and to finally be recognized for the great academic performance they have done to get where they are today. This is an amazing full circle moment for Ryan, as well as myself, and for many others who have cared so much about this topic, and I'm excited to see what's to come from this decision. I want to thank you all for the hard work you do and encourage you to continue to make decisions that are best for all of the students in Marlboro Public Schools. Thank you and have a good rest of your evening. And questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor, thank you. I know you had the conversation with Bodenhender about MassCore and other things. Did you ask in your survey to the students, did you ask what they thought a solution would be for a replacement to, I mean, MCAS didn't go away. The test is still
Yeah,
going to
they
be
still have to take it.
Graduation requirement has gone away.
Yes.
But did you ask what they felt should be a requirement for graduation?
I didn't specifically state that as part of my question, but many students, they did propose some different ideas. Some of these ideas were something along the lines of MassCore, just having some kind of state guidelines that are like stricter and that have to be required by every district across the state, so that also contributed to me adding that into my presentation.
Right, I mean, the unknown, the big unknown is the state going to come out with something, or is it going to be left just to each district? So
Yeah.
I can guarantee you it will not be left to each district.
Well, they better do something soon, since it's, we only have till May.
It's being worked on. No, this current year graduation, it is part of the graduation requirement. It's not until 2026.
Okay, that was not my understanding. I thought May 2025 was the no longer, so I thought this year's
The
class.
senior class still has to pass the MCAS,
Okay.
right?
This senior class has to pass MCAS. I didn't think they do. I thought that got thrown out right away.
I believe it's only for they're doing the retakes.
The retakes,
Yeah.
Yeah, not,
So I don't think it's for testing in the spring as a graduation requirement. I do think it
We can look
closes,
into that
it
and get
passes in
back to it.
January, I believe. But don't quote me on that. I'd have to look into it to make certain.
That's not what I thought, but
Yep.
we'll figure that out.
We
Okay.
will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor.
Hi, my name is Jade Onyongo, and I'm the SAC representative for the class of 2028. Tonight, I'm going to be presenting on the topic of recycling at MHS. It has been brought to my attention that there aren't recycling bins in all of the classrooms, and even when there is, the recycling often ends up getting mixed in with the trash. I'm proposing that as a district, we purchase more recycling bins, ensuring that there's one in each classroom or even in the hallways. This topic was brought up during a student leadership meeting where some students expressed that they didn't have the option to recycle in some classes. After doing some research, I've realized that recycling is a lot more complex than some might think. And most times, even when it's properly sorted, it just ends up being mixed in with trash anyway. I know that this also will come down to students, and most will still end up throwing paper products into the trash can when the recycling bin is right next to it, and vice versa, throwing their wrappers into the recycling bin. At the end of the day, this definitely would be a long-term project that we need to start with in the school with the students. I think that the best solution and course of action would be to provide recycling bins in all the classrooms and to continue what we are currently doing. I'm not proposing a big change in any way, just a small one, that being purchasing more bins for the school. I think that our school has been doing a great job, and I think that the small addition to the classroom will be beneficial. And that concludes my presentation. Feel free to ask any questions. Thank you all for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jade.
Thank you. No questions?
I have a question. So, and maybe this is for Mr. Wells, but so how does it work? Like, does the city pick up the trash and the recycling? We don't have a separate.
We do have dumpsters
We-
for larger, disposal of trash, but we do still have our recycling bins.
So our custodians put the recycling bins that are around the district somewhere, and the city comes and picks them up, like they do at homes?
Up front, they will not pick them up, so we do at the high school, we have some large dumpsters.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, we do, it's kind of a mix of how we do it. We do have some larger dumpsters at at all the schools, because you just, the amount of trash is bulk, so you gotta get it in that way. But we can look into the recycling certainly and see what we have around the schools to make sure that we have the proper receptacles.
Can I follow up on that? I guess, which would be great. I mean, I thank you for bringing it to my attention. I have to say, I would have thought that there were recycling bins in every single classroom and like in our cafeterias. I wouldn't have even envisioned that we wouldn't have had that as being an option. So I guess I would love to follow up on that more, because I think it would be great to make sure that, like, within the cafeteria especially, that we have, you know, separated out bins, so it makes it really easy, because I think, you know, part of it is the ease, right? Having it really available to use it correctly. So I'd love it if you can keep an eye on it and kind of let us know later on into the spring, you know, if you're seeing things kind of change, if possible, because I think it would be great if we could start worrying about that a little bit more towards your current events. You know, we need to worry about it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Wraps up their presentation.
Thanks,
So
Jade.
thank you to the Student Advisory Committee members for being here and expressing your insight. Moving on to the superintendent's report. The superintendent is not in the meeting today, so Ms. Jody O'Brien, if you could read her report.
Thank you. So for Mary's report, under snow days during the 2023-24 school year, our day-to-day school bus routes, especially at the elementary level, were undependable. On many days, buses were up to an hour or more late starting or ending their routes. As a district, we decided not to have any weather-related 2-hour delays last year. Last month, Mary notified all staff and families that, as always, when there is severe weather, we will cancel school for the day. Unlike last year, this year there may also be times when the district will have a 2-hour delay. On those days, buses will begin their routes 2 hours later than usual. We're thankful that our transportation issues have been resolved to a level that we can plan on having daily, dependable transportation for our students. Safe routes to school. During the Massachusetts Association of School Committees joint conference in November, Mary was a member of the Marlboro team that attended a presentation on safe routes to school. Safe Routes to School provides school grants, staff and student training on walking and bicycle safety, and complete Safe Routes to School walk assessments. On December 19th, Jordan Sales from Safe Routes to Schools will be attending a district leadership meeting. As a district, we plan to work with Safe Routes to Schools as we identify walking zones for the fall. And finally, Mary would like to thank Ms. Jennifer Smith for all of her efforts in planning another Acaruno student exchange visit. This exchange program is valued by the city, schools, and community. Respectfully submitted by Mary Murphy, Superintendent of Schools.
Excellent. Any comments? Okay, let's move on to the.
Could I just add that I think obviously we celebrated the Acaruno folks at the last meeting. It was fantastic to have the kids as well as all of the administrators here, and all of the planning that Jen Smith did, as well in tandem with the chaperones that were actively involved too. It really was incredible, and I guess I just wanted to highlight that again one more time, that we're so fortunate to have this program here within our city.
Right.
So thank you.
I will second that to Jen Smith, as well as the host families. That's a huge obligation, so thank you to all the host families, because we wouldn't be able to host them if we didn't have host families. So it was a great experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with them. So moving on to the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services and Equity, it's Jody O'Brien again.
Thank you. I'd like to provide the school committee with an update on some paraeducator training that will be happening tomorrow. On the upcoming early release day on December 11th, K-5 paraeducators will be participating in professional development topics that they've requested additional training for. Chris Henry, our Director of Instructional Technology, has worked with his team and collaborated with Michael Lasser, our Data Systems Manager, to offer a round-robin style training that will be held at Hildreth in the afternoon after student dismissal. Participants will rotate through 5 engaging sessions on the following topics: Aspen, learning how to log in, manage conduct referrals, and update staff information. There'll be one on staff intranet, website, and app navigation, which will be improving navigation and utilization of the district platforms. There'll be a session on Google versus Microsoft accounts, understanding and managing your dual accounts effectively. There'll be a session on RedCats and whiteboards, discover classroom technology to enhance management and communication. And RedCats is a classroom FM system where there's a speaker and the teacher wears a microphone and it highlights her voice or his voice over any background noise. Good Now is part of the building project, has that as part of all of the classrooms, and our other 3 elementary schools have portable individual units for the classrooms. And finally, there'll be an accessibility tools session which will explore Chromebook tools to support student needs. And this was largely a request because a lot of our paraeducators serve as substitutes when teachers are out. So it was important for them to be able to know how to utilize a lot of and learn more about the topics that are being offered. Each session will be 25 minutes long with a 5-minute break mid-session. The day will conclude with a group assembly in the cafeteria. And below is a visual format of what that round robin of the trainings will look like. Given limited capacity, paraeducators at the Early Childhood Center, Wickham, and Marlborough High School will have building-based assignments that afternoon. Paraeducators at the secondary level have already received trainings on many of the topics that are being offered tomorrow. We believe that this may be an effective model of training for paraeducators that we can utilize in the future, particularly starting with the next school year when paraeducators report to work 5 days prior to the start of the school year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
I have a
Yes.
question. So, at the administrative meeting last week that I was attended, in the group that I was, sitting with, we heard it a few times that teachers were saying, like, they don't know how to instruct parents how to get onto Aspen. So I'm just wondering if some of this technology stuff, like, they know how to get into Aspen for themselves, but they said, sometimes parents will reach out to them and say, how do I get onto Aspen? And they have no idea how to tell them what to do. So it's good that the paras are being trained in this, but I'm just curious if there are opportunities for teachers as well to learn how to do some of this stuff that they may or may not know.
We did have that come up at that meeting, and part of it was, part of our conversations with Dr. Skaza was looking at how we can utilize the new teacher orientation the week before school starts.
Yeah, they get a basic overview now on attendance input and I think very general overview on grade input, even though it's well ahead of any grading season. But with the parent portal, which I think you're referring to, there is no specific training for teachers on how to instruct parents on how to navigate the parent portal. So I can talk with Chris Henry and Principal House and Principal Riley, where I think that would most apply at the secondary level, and see what we could come up with for training for teachers to make sure not only maybe there's a tutorial that's easy for, to publicize, and also teachers feel comfortable to give a tutorial maybe over the phone or at a parent-teacher conference, or
Yeah, even if there was like a YouTube video that they could be instructed to.
That's what I was thinking, if Jill put
Yeah, if
together.
Jill could do one.
she's
or
magic
s-
like that. I could definitely.
Yeah, she loves making those little videos.
We do have a PDF
Yeah.
with visuals on that's translated on how to, step by step on how to access the parent portal. And we
Teachers might not know that that exists.
Right, so we need to
just
make sure
making them aware that
push
that's what they
that
can
out.
pass on to
But
parents.
I think a video, in addition to that, would be helpful, particularly since this past year we, in pushing out an online registration system that's part of Aspen.
Yeah.
New parents new to the district have to navigate that parent portal in order to register their students. So we do have support at RPOC for those families, but I absolutely to provide more support to both teachers and to the parents on utilizing that. Thank you.
Catherine.
So on that, managed conduct referrals in Aspen, I guess similar to what Michelle was saying, that was another thing that did come up in discussion during that administrative meeting, is really making sure that there's a thorough understanding of major, minor, where everything is falling, so that things can be put in correctly. So while that's great that the paras would need to get this, I would say that it really does seem like it needs to be something across the district for much of the staff to make sure that they're all on the same page about how to handle those conduct referrals that just came up again and again, and making sure that, you know, kind of everyone's on the same page about that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Anyone
we've
else?
done some work with Bethany Pritchard around PBIS for the administrative group, which includes a variety of teachers, particularly the lead teachers, because it's during the leadership retreat, and minors and majors as part of that whole PBIS framework. So we could contact Bethany and see if she would be willing to do a session on that and specifically look at coding. And I do know that Superintendent Murphy did review that with the administrative group at her last leadership, or the leadership meeting prior.
That would be great. You know, whether it's Bethany or, you know, when we were doing a lot of the MTSS work, Howard Muscott was also leading the charge as well on trying to make sure that it was majors and minors and that everyone was effectively understanding where everything falls. I just think that it's sounding like we're going to need to make that more of our regular, you know, consistent training across the board, so that we can make sure we're all, you know, paras and teachers are all marking things down correctly. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. All right. Moving on to Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Skaza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The John and Abigail Adams Scholarship for MCAS performance. On behalf of Principal Riley and the Marlborough Public Schools, we would like to congratulate the following students on their John and Abigail Adams Scholarship. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has created this merit scholarship program to reward the hard work and achievement of Massachusetts students and to encourage those students to continue their education at one of our public institutions of higher learning. The scholarship entitles the recipient to receive a 4-year John and Abigail Adams Scholarship upon acceptance to a participating Massachusetts public institution of higher education. The choice is based on outstanding MCAS results.
Can I just add something? So it's not just MCAS, they also have to be in the top 25% of their class. Like, there's other criteria, but it is based on MCAS, and people should know that MCAS is still going to be administered. It's just not a requirement for graduation, and those scores will still help people get these scholarships.
Yeah,
That's not going away.
Yeah, and I was hoping my tone might highlight this as a reason to perform well
for
on the MCAS
people
test.
to take it seriously.
Yeah, you
for-
are able to get a
100%.
great opportunity with a scholarship provided to you.
Absolutely.
So for the year 2025, the following students have been selected. Marbella Ales Gomez, Michael Antwi Ayim, Juliana Aristobal Grisales, Alicia Arroyo Jeriguay, Kaylee Aubin, Carly Bamford, Michael Benway, Alini Blanco, Damian Burke, Adrian Carlasquillo, Abigail Carroll, Catalina Cartez Guzman, Nicholas Cerrone, Arthur DaCosta, Zachary DeWoisick, Christopher DeFaria, Anthony Del Vecchio, Antonio De Leon, Luis Enrique dos Santos, Megan Douglas, Yasmin De Silva, Megan Finelli, Leticia Figueredo, Gregory Fisher, Giovanna Fleury, Osmond Flores Mendoza, Gabriel Franca, Sarah Garner, Dane Garson, Ryan Gould, Jocelyn Gramajo, Patrick Haviland, Abigail Healy, Ella Hobbin, Maggie Horn, it's Hoban, sorry, Ella Hoban, Christina Jimenez Castillo, Adelaide Johnson, Chase Joslin, Eric Niesler, Ruth Linares Pierre, Kylie Lombardi, Amelia McNeil, Manuel Menendez, Colton Mercandante, Christopher Moe, Mariana Molina Ecavera, Leah Mulcahy, Andrew Name, Emily O'Mara, Cole Palema, Derek Pedreros, Camille Patel, Daniel Pontes, Felipe Pubuilo, Matthew Padilla, Pedro Lucas Ramos, Leo Wren, Adriana Rivera, Andrew Ruiz, Craig Sano, Richard Seti, Dong Tan, Quan Felipe Tellis, Giada Young, Sophia Zalumis, Andy Zhang, and Chloe Zinzola. I did my best with my phonetic pronunciation, and I practiced with Miss Vim Buskirk. To the students watching, I hope I did you just service. Congratulations to all of them.
That's great.
Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none. Alrighty, we'll move on to the Director of Finance and Operations, Mr. Wells.
So tonight we have a transportation update. All of our routes are now, all approved changes have been done. All students have been registered properly within the system. And we are moving on to some of the fine-tuning stuff that we should have been doing a while ago, but it's nice that we're moving on to that now and dealing with issues as they come along. The transportation bid, we sent out an addendum early this week, and we had extended the bid opening date to the 19th. We're now extending it to January 3rd to allow firms more time to be able to answer the questions they have. We also have another set of questions that we're going to complete this week and get out to everybody, so we just need to make sure that these firms had enough time to be able to respond to everything that's being sent back to them. And then we also have in your packet the most recent year-to-date financial report.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Yes, Ms. Catherine.
Could we have the addendum forwarded so that we can?
Yeah, we'll make sure you get the entire packet. We're working on cleaning up the bid, so it's a clean bid to be handed off to you as well, so you'll have everything in a nice, tidy package. We got the questions out first very quickly to the bidders so that they could have all the answers and the additional information that we're providing to them, and we're going to incorporate it all into the bid and get that out as a clean bid document to everybody, so it's a little bit easier to read.
Okay, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
In one place, I'm just saying.
Okay.
On the website?
I guess
On the city side.
On the city side.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions for Mr. Wells? Seeing none, let's move on. Acceptance of minutes. Minutes of the November 26, 2024 school committee meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is on the table. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the minutes from November 26th? Seeing none, I seconded. I need a roll call, starting with Ms. Matthews.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. The minutes from November 26th is approved. Moving on to public comment. Alrighty, public comment going once. Seeing none. Public comment going twice. Seeing none. Public comment going 3 times. Seeing none. We close public comment. Action items and reports. Moving on to acceptance of donations and gifts. We have Hannaford Supermarkets for Kane School for $359.04, and Wickham School for $356.04, which are both checks that were donated, so thank you both. Need a
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is on the table and seconded. Questions, comments, concerns regarding the donation from Hannaford's for both? Seeing none, roll call vote, starting with Ms. Matthews.
Yes.
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 Donation carries. Thank you very much. O'Connor Studios from Kane School for the total of $1,260.73, which was a check. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is on the table and seconded. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the $1,200? Seeing none. Roll call. Ms. Matthews.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Thank you very much. And finally, Alexion Pharmaceuticals for MPS students. It's about $1,800. It's about 120 care packages for winter gear and chapstick for the students.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is on the table and seconded. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the care packages? Seeing none. Roll call. Ms. Matthews.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Reports of school committee subcommittees. Seeing none. Going once, going twice, moving forward. Excellent. Members forum. Warrant.
Warrant.
One is that tomorrow is a half day for students, professional development day for everyone else. Thursday is the high school concert, Thursday night at 7 o'clock, I believe.
Concert
Yes.
floor.
Yes. The high school winter concert.
Got it.
Winter concert. And since it's the only meeting of the month, I just want to wish everybody a wonderful holiday season and
That's lovely.
yes,
Did
don't
you
miss us too much in 2 weeks.
sign the warrant?
Oh, and I did sign the warrant and reviewed it too.
Of course.
Thank you.
That's our tool.
I was just gonna say, winter sports are starting back up too. So yeah, come out and show up to support our Marlboro teams.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Oh, yes, Mr. Caruso.
I think it's only appropriate to note the passing of Mr. Robert Brennan, who was a member of the school committee for 18 years. Just wanted to make sure people were aware of that.
Thank you.
Where was it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. Members forum, anything else? Everyone's favorite time?
Motion to adjourn.
Approve the adjournment.
Approve the adjournment?
Motion to adjourn is on the table and seconded. Questions, comments, concerns regarding adjournment? Seeing none, let's start with Mr. Caruso. Roll call. Let's get out of here. Say yes.
You're first, Dan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
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 Okay, we are adjourned at 8:19. Everyone have a happy and healthy holiday and New Year. Thank you, everyone.